Hey, how's it going? It is Rich. Welcome back to the studio. Tonight we're going to be working on dynamic anatomy. There's just a bunch of my tools. I don't play with the 0.7 that much. Yeah, these four inking tools. We got like two little brush pens, and then a thick brush pen and a tech pen. But I'm not feeling too good tonight. But we are going to stream, do what we can. Pardon me for 1 second while I get set up. Wait for people to come in. If you're watching this later, go ahead and jump to a timestamp. Let me pull up the stream on my computer, make sure it's all good. So this drawing of Chun-Li I did in a video, and it is a private video on my Ko-fi account. If you donate any amount of money, you can go watch it there. And I'll put the link to that in the chat. Just gonna get myself warmed up a little bit. And if you're new here, go ahead and click that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. My channel is all about comics and manga and anime and the art and process of making that art. And tonight we're going to be working on dynamic anatomy, which was voted on in the community tab. So if you ever want to help decide what's going to be streaming in our Monday night studio sessions, you can go ahead and vote over there. try to go on with the brush here. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. So like last week's Dynamic Anatomy stream, I'm going to be finding images on Pinterest and sharing them in the chat. So if anyone else sketching along can follow. Here we go. Alright, here's our first one. So I found it on Pinterest, but it's a link to like an Amazon product, I guess. So it looks like a weird link, but all I do is, right click on the image, open image in new tab. And that's how you can get just the image without the rest of the Amazon page. Bunch of dog hair on this, but got dog hair on that too. There we go. Okay. How the hell's it going tonight, guys? I am just doing some quick sketches around here. What's going on with my stream? There we go. I got it down there. Let me just adjust real quick. Hey, what's going on with Cinesfall? How you doing? You sketching with me tonight? You working on anything in particular? Oh, studying the twists and turns of the neck, back, and shoulders. Awesome. And front with the collarbone. Yeah.
You have a beautiful life and big goals you still want to achieve. Help protect it all with USAA's budget-friendly level-term life insurance. It's coverage designed with big dreams in mind. It only takes a little to leave a lot. Get a quote at USAA.
You start studying the human anatomy and how it works and moves and all turns and interlocks together. It almost seems more like engineering. It's you know, after a while you kind of start looking at the body as like a machine, and you start looking at machines and other things you have to draw kind of similarly, you know, because all these bones and muscles, they all lock in together, and that's the interesting thing. So one of my favorite areas to draw is the collarbone. The collarbone's fun because it just links the two shoulder balls together, and then it links them together with the neck. You have these two jugulars coming up. So it's like a curved V, or almost like a bird. Quick question, after I finish the Bodies and Anatomy book and understand anatomy, which book should I learn next? I think you should go on to whatever interests you the most next. Okay. Perspective, shading tones, or animals next. You know, perspective is super useful, and I would say probably the most important. Right after anatomy would be perspective. But it also kind of depends on your personal goals. You know, what do you want to do with your art? And what interests you the most, you know? So you got to balance that out. What's going to hold your interest? What are you most personally invested in? And maybe career-wise or passion-wise, what do you want to pursue? So shading isn't super applicable to everybody, so because that also kind of determines your style, or is dependent upon your style. But yeah, I love drawing the collarbone, because then the collarbone also kind of locks into the rib cage. Right? It's kind of the top of the rib cage. very interesting. I like it. It's fun to draw. And the shoulders are very rarely perfectly level, almost always off in some way like that. So, yeah, perspective might be more important if you want to do dynamic poses. I kind of self-admittedly not the greatest at perspective. It's not something that ever really piqued my interest. And now I look at it and I'm like, oh man, this seems really daunting. So I wish I had focused on it more earlier on. I feel like I would be further with my art if I just if I worked on that more. I always kind of changed up my career goals when it came to art. Like I was interested in so many different things across a huge, spectrum of stuff. I wanted to be a comic book penciler in the beginning. Then I saw, that art looked like it was going digital, so I got into digital colors, and then I became a colorist. And then I was like, well, I think what I really want to do is storyboard because I really liked anime and the animation stuff. And I was like, well, I'm going to try to be a storyboard artist, and then pretty quickly turned into concept art, and then back into comics, and yeah. So it's kind of jumped all over the place. I even like briefly experimented with being like doing a portrait kind of stuff, and yeah. I'd say whatever you just try to be committed, Don't jump around too much. A few jumps is okay, but don't do, and I would jump across all those like weekly almost. So all of it's fun to learn. Um, but try to pick a primary with some secondaries. Don't try to be a primary in all of them, Don't major in all of them. Major in one, minor in a few. Okay, so I did this piece. This is in a video I put up on my Ko-fi account. If you guys are interested in this Chun-Li drawing and seeing how this was done, yeah, up on Ko-fi, behind a paywall. It's like my first video I put up there, behind a paywall. But yeah, it is very neat. Yeah. Anyway, let me find some other creative poses going on here. Nope, that's not it. Do you tend to use mannequin figures for poses? No. No. I tend to look up, I don't know. I will look at photos and other drawings for, inspiration. Um, for my comic, I don't because the inspiration is in the story, and I'm playing this out in my head. And I can kind of see how things are going in my head. But if I'm just sitting here staring at a paper, I have trouble just like coming up with like a random image for me to draw. So I need like a prompt or something immediate for me to work off of. So a prompt could be a good idea. If I want to draw something unique, I'll look through an art book, comic book, or Pinterest, Instagram. Just find something. Just find an image that strikes me. Although social media can take you in like weird places and might totally distract you and take you off course. But that's what I like about Pinterest. It's not Instagram. It's not going to get me too distracted with a reel or something. So Yeah, my sketches, if I'm looking at like a reference image, um, like if I'm looking at an image of, you know, Chun-Li kicking and I like the pose, so I'm drawing this image, I'm not going to make it. It's not going to be a direct copy. I'm looking at it for inspiration, so it's going to be some sort of kicking, but I'll change where an arm is or, you know, hair. I'll make it a totally different character. And when you do that, it's a totally different image. I mean, it's not like, I don't know. Some people make it seem like theft, and it's not. It's just drawing inspiration. So don't feel like you shouldn't look at other people's work to get inspired, you know? Because there's nothing new or original out there anymore. Only so many times you can draw Wolverine in so many different poses from different angles. You know how many times Wolverine's been drawn from this kind of, doing this kind of pose? So much. So much. So what do? I make him naked with no genitals, and that makes it really unique. You know, and it's about your stylistic, you know, choices, and you know, your filter makes the image unique too. So you know how many girls have been drawn with, you know, guns kind of standing like this, but this one's unique because I drew it and she has a friggin' bow on her head, and shotgun is very different. Has like a whole magazine and a scope. Is very different. So right, and the person who did the original drawing had to get reference from somewhere too, you know, unless they drew it straight from their head, in which case there's going to be plenty of errors that they put into it on their own. So I got a comment from someone last week that said I should trace more to learn, and I'm like, no, nope. Tracing has its purpose, you know, like it is a good tool for learning, but you need to understand what exactly you're learning if you're going to be tracing. Because tracing wouldn't help me with what I'm doing. I'm trying to train my eye to accurately see, you know, details and proportions, and, you know, this was the whole point of artists, was to record events and people accurately so it could be saved through time, and to record a moment. And so they had to have like really good eyes, you know, and understand what was going on in the world, and relations and shape relations, proportions, and everything were super important. And now we're in a world where, you know, you can take a picture of something, import it into your program, and trace over it on your tablet. Totally defeats the purpose of training your eye. And I want to be, you know, a traditional artist, so I need to train my eye more. So there's really two parts to being an artist. You know, it's hand-eye coordination. So don't forget to train your eye, your ability to observe. It's very important. At some point in your artistic journey, you're going to become dissatisfied with your art. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen multiple times. You're like, why am I not drawing as well as I should be? And that happens from, one of the reasons that it will happen is because your eye, your ability to um, observe details has surpassed your hand's ability to recreate the details, or vice versa. Observation is key. It's really the first step to drawing is observation. So don't forget that part. And that's why if you take like an art class, the teachers always say learn from life. It's because life comes first. And then came every artist's interpretation of it. That's why so many, one of the popular things on any social media is, the sky drawing on the subway. He's learning from life. It really is key. It's the first part to being an artist, right? We all looked at something and said, I want to draw that. I bet I could. My son's doing that. He's drawing from life. Earlier today, he drew my wife, which was really good for an 8-year-old. And then a couple weeks ago, he drew the studio. Like he was just sitting there, he didn't know what to draw, and he literally just like drew what he saw here in the studio. He drew, both my art desks and the shelves and the bookcases, the couch, everything. And it's just kind of like the first step. If you're new here, can you click that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, all that. Really helps, especially as a small channel. And apparently, if you click copy or like share, copy link, you don't have to share with anybody, but if you do that, it tells YouTube that I'm doing something right. I really appreciate it. And on my community tab, I have a poll, and you guys can vote on what I do on my next stream. So most of the time, dynamic anatomy wins. So, but if you want to change that, your vote matters. Unlike everywhere else. I kind of find it amazing how that if you're so dedicated to draw something, its anatomy, structures, and etc., you see things different than the way you used to. Yeah. Yeah, it's like as your knowledge of something deepens, the way you look at it changes. Have you ever drawn something with great understanding? You see things different now. Like you see things how the way they would now. Guns? I don't know. I've learned a lot about guns since I started drawing them. They're if you want to draw a convincing weapon, you kind of have to know like how it's built and the integral parts of it. So, and I mean, I started drawing, weapons when I was a kid. If you draw comic book characters, you're gonna be drawing, guns and swords, and since then, I've gone on to actually be like proficient with weapons, and then as I became more proficient with weapons and handled them, my drawings of them got even better too. Misspelled. You're good. You're good. Yeah, and it kind of worked in reverse because I became proficient with those tools, and then my drawings of them became much better. So, and that's one way of kind of emphasizing, observation before drawing, You can study those things, but then you'll become even better at drawing them if you handle them, Like I'm sure an artist who cooks will be even better at drawing, a Food Wars manga than someone who doesn't cook, some of the convincing things that happen. You know, can't have an artist who doesn't spend any time in the kitchen drawing food wars. And if any of the music in my background sounds familiar, it is Taylor Swift. Um, I'm going to link this video because I got permission from this artist. It's Taylor Swift, but lo-fi. It's pretty funny. Because I listen to lo-fi hip-hop, but my daughter loves Taylor Swift. And then eventually the algorithm was like, well, you like this. And it's Taylor Swift lo-fi. So... it's crazy, man. There's like everything out there nowadays. First shows this bad reputation right here. Oh no, Endgame. That's what it is. Yep. I'm not a super big Swiftie, but you just can't avoid her now, can you? So. How the hell's it going tonight, guys? If you're interested in manga and comic book art and anime stuff, then go and subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. I'm just kind of here tonight, sketching and working on my dynamic anatomy. That was weird. I love drawing fantasy characters, and one of my favorite fantasy anime is Grand Blue. Let me see what I know. I got Grand Blue has so many art books. Actually, I think this is number 3. But there's like 15 or something like that, and this is massive. Massive. 351 pages, man. Nuts. Absolutely so much. So much art. and so much good character design. Like weapons. Just crazy stuff, man. Crazy. I think it's actually like a video game. It's like an RPG or something. But I like to look at this for like weapon ideas and stuff. It's so awesome. So awesome. Weird, as soon as I mentioned Taylor Swift, everybody dropped out. How the hell's it going tonight? I am just here working on an anime. Working on this fantasy character with really a fat sword here with a long handle. I always like this kind of design. Maybe we should make the handle like even longer. I think it just helps with like leverage, swinging it faster. But yeah. You think even longer? Kind of like that. It's like a double knob hilt thing. That's kind of cool, actually. Keeping it. And I kind of like what I just did here with this broadsword, like blocking her boobs there. Kind of saves me the trouble of having to figure out what to do for a top, because now it's like self-censoring. So yeah, she's gonna be topless, I guess. getting strong Adam Warren vibes from this piece. What are you thinking? I'm thinking there's going to be a spear going through this hand. Lane Strider says, nice, that's a tough angle with perspective. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not that I'm not good at perspective, but I'm not good at coming up with my own like poses and stuff with perspective. Not something I'm naturally good at. And I put off perspective a long time, like learning it and trying to apply it. But really, if you want to get good at dynamic anatomy, perspective, I'd say, is a mandatory lesson. Unfortunately, because it's really hard. And I would say perspective is really hard if you're not already good at anatomy. I would definitely say like get good at anatomy first and then perspective. This is a 0.9, and this is a 0.5. I don't use my 0.7 all that much. It's pretty rare. This is like an everyday carry that I'm not afraid to lose, but I prefer my 0.9 and the 0.5. And a 2 millimeter. But yeah. I don't know why. One day I just, it wasn't just one day. I don't know why. I got used to the 0.9 and it just gives me a thicker line and it's almost like a regular pencil. But it can give you really fine lines too, obviously. If you just kind of wear it down and sharpen it a little bit, you get really fine lines and then really thick lines. So. Yeah, man. Kind of sick tonight, so if I sound like a little nasally, that's it. I'm not talking as much, it's because my throat hurts, but yeah, man. Still here, trying to throw it down. Trying to come up with a interesting shape for this. I want it to come down on this side. Maybe something like that. No. Tank Girl, I like it. Yeah, I guess so. Wasn't even thinking about Tank Girl, but yeah. I see that now too. Yeah, I like that this broadsword like perfectly kind of censored her boobs, which were there. So, um, trying to think like how big. How big can I make this spear? I do not know. It's funny, at first I was getting like Adam Warren vibes. I think I was getting that from the lips. Yeah. And if you're new here, go and click that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. All I do here is work on comic books, manga, anime, and the art of making all those things. So let's try to clean up this bun here. I really hate it when like YouTubers try to make their art look totally sterile and perfectly plain. I'm like, that's not real. I don't trust any artist that makes their stuff look like, oh, and on the first try, I did this, you know? It's not real. It's not true. There's either a drawing on the page that you can't see because they up the contrast, or just totally bullshitting you some other way. And I think it hurts a lot of people from starting drawing or continuing with drawing because they see that and they go, I'm never going to be that good, you know? Some of my favorite artists on here are Frank Cho and Stato. I think Stato works mostly in video games and concept art. All the stuff I see him post is like pencil sketches. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Super loose figure drawings and stuff, but he just keeps on going over it. So the really light lines just disappear, just the dark ones stand out, and looks cool. Got some shin guards on her because shin protection is very important. Alright guys, I think that's it for me tonight. And I drew this recently in another video I posted on Ko-fi. You can find the link to that in the chat. It's one of the first links. And that is so far my first and only video behind a paywall. You can go check that out if you want. I think it's only like $1 or something. It's like the bare minimum to go see that. And I think I'm done sketching for tonight. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. And remember, ink responsibly. See you later.